Now, we've just wrapped up the 25th meeting of the Ukraine Defense Contact Group. And of course, that was my final time convening this contact group as Secretary of Defense. And I ended our session by challenging this history-making coalition to continue to support Ukraine. So I'd like to say a few words about that challenge, but I also want to take a few minutes to reflect on how far we've come. You know, throughout the day, I've been thinking back to our very first meeting here at Ramstein. We gathered on April 26, 2022, nearly 1,000 days ago. The world was reeling from the shock of Putin's imperial aggression. The Kremlin had invaded the second largest country in Europe, with the largest military in Europe. And Russian troops had just massacred Ukrainian civilians in Bucha. And many pundits said that Ukraine was doomed. But President Biden saw a way forward, paved by Ukrainian courage and allied commitment. And I came to Ramstein after a secret visit to Ukraine with Secretary Blinken. We were in Kyiv during Orthodox Easter, and Ukrainian citizens were huddled in churches to pray, and Ukrainian leaders huddled in bunkers to plan. I heard directly from Ukraine's most senior leaders what it needed most, from President Zelensky on down. Now, in the days after Putin's all-out invasion, many countries were flooding Ukraine with ad hoc donations of ammo and other capabilities. But I knew that if Ukraine was to survive, we needed to coordinate that security assistance. And we needed to do so in a way that met the evolving nature of the fight. So I convened nations of goodwill right here at Ramstein, and I carried with me the urgency that I heard in Kyiv just hours earlier. So I opened our hastily arranged first meeting by urging some 40 countries to build a common understanding of the situation in Ukraine. And today, this contact group provides more than a common understanding. It provides a common cause. And today, some 50 countries of conscience are coordinating closely with Ukraine to send vital, consistent, and cutting-edge security assistance. And that has helped turn Ukraine's struggle into one of the great military success stories of our time. The Ukrainian military has shown breathtaking courage. And the Ukrainian people have shown magnificent defiance. Ukraine's cause has inspired free people everywhere, including in my country. And you know, back in the desperate days of February 2022, Ukrainian citizens were making Molotov cocktails to defend their homes. But today, with the help of this contact group, Ukraine has a battle-tested military and a booming defense industrial base. We're meeting the most urgent needs of Ukraine's troops, even as we're building Ukraine's future force. And over the past 3 years, we've helped coordinate striking improvements to Ukraine's capabilities, all while managing our own readiness. Now, we know that no single capability will turn the tide. So we have always stayed focused on what works and on the combined effect of Ukraine's capabilities You know, Ukraine has started to fly fourth-generation fighter jets. It now fields advanced Western air defense capabilities. And it produces and operates state-of-the-art unmanned systems. All of this positions Ukraine to defeat Russian aggression today and to deter Russian aggression tomorrow. And so our work has changed the course of history. Now, I am deeply proud of the assistance that the United States has provided to Ukraine. And President Biden's support for Ukraine has never flagged. And Ukraine has also had strong bipartisan support in Congress. Since February 2022, we have stayed laser focused on providing Ukraine's defenders with the capabilities that they have needed at each stage of the fight. First, artillery and rockets have been fundamental to this war. Since 2022, the United States has provided Ukraine with more than 2 million artillery rounds and more than 20,000 rockets, all while maintaining the readiness of our own forces. Second, we relentlessly pushed to provide Ukraine with air defense systems and missiles to defend its skies, its cities, and civilians. Third, the department is working to support Ukraine's drone industry. And fourth, we surged other critical capabilities to Ukraine, including HIMARS, ground combat vehicles, javelins, and much, much more. And time and again, we've seen the huge significance of these combined capabilities. In fact, many of these lower key capabilities have had a far greater battlefield impact than some higher profile systems that we've also helped to provide, including F-16s and Abrams tanks and ATACMS. In a war like this, no single capability is game-changing. As I said in Kyiv in October, what matters is the combined effects of your military capabilities and staying focused on what works even as the fight evolves. Now, the Ukraine crisis exposed some shortcomings in our defense industrial base. We still got a lot more work to do. But we have galvanized our own defense industry, investing nearly $70 billion at home to produce capabilities for Ukraine and replenish our own stocks. And so we still face major challenges ahead. But as a founder of this contact group, I am very proud of the way that our allies and partners have stepped up. Since April of 2022, the contact group's other members have committed more than $60 billion in direct security assistance to Ukraine. Ukraine's needs on the battlefield have evolved over the past 2.5 years, and so have the contributions of the coalition. Denmark, Finland, Germany, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Sweden, and Spain have joined to provide Ukraine with more Leopard tanks. Germany has developed and led its immediate action on air defense initiative, which has spurred partners to pledge more than $1 billion to support Ukraine's air defenses. The Czech Republic has led a dozen countries in surging critical munitions through the Czech Initiative, which coordinated the delivery of hundreds of thousands of rounds of artillery ammunition last year. And Denmark and the Netherlands have provided Ukraine's first F-16 fighter jets. And Canada, Denmark, France, Romania, the UK, and the US have found creative ways to train Ukrainian pilots. And Ukraine's partners have provided broad and sustained support, from Patriot and Hawk air defense systems to thousands of armored vehicles. And so all told, contact group members have committed more than $126 billion in security assistance to Ukraine. They've expanded production capacity in factories around the world. And they've raced in sustainment capabilities to keep Ukraine's equipment in the fight. So this coalition has become the arsenal of Ukrainian democracy. It has become an engine of global security. And this contact group has become the most consequential global coalition in more than 30 years. The contact group's mission is now driven by its 8 capability coalitions, with support from the national armaments directors. And today, 14 countries and Ukraine lead these important coalitions. They focus on Ukraine's Air Force, armor, artillery, demining, drones, information technology, integrated air and missile defense, and maritime security. And today, the ministers of defense here endorsed each of the coalition's roadmap for Ukraine's future force. Now, each roadmap lays out an efficient and sustainable approach to helping meet Ukraine's long-term and near-term capability needs. And that's how this contact group has produced so much progress. By working together for our shared security interests and by standing together for our shared principles. And the battlefield results have been plain. Since 2022, Russia has suffered more than 700,000 casualties in Ukraine. Now, that's more than Moscow has endured in all of its conflicts since World War II.